On the Todd Shapiro Show, SiriusXM 168.
All right, welcome back to the program. You know, it's usually shits and giggles here, nonstop, and once in a while you come across some stories that you feel like you just got to share to people, just to share to really it helps put things in perspective for a lot of us, not to necessarily exploit situations that could be very tragic for others, but just here as a reminder in life that, you know, let's appreciate every moment we have in here and show how there's some really, really amazing people who sometimes just go through some terrible times. And I like to highlight those amazing people. And I heard the story from my friends over at CreditPHD.ca who are here with us, Stephen and Kevin, that I'm like, we just gotta go, and especially here on Valentine's Day, on a day that's filled with love, we gotta put it on air and we gotta talk about this stuff because we have to show that, well, let's be honest, we all have big hearts, and I want to remind human beings what a big heart's all about, and we're about to hear one. Kevin and Stephen, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. How are you, Todd?
Great.
Good. How's biz, by the way? CreditPHD.
Good. Yeah, good.
It's doing well.
Good.
There's a lot of people that suck in this whole world. Their credit, so it's good. You know?
Well, like if
hey, by the way,
yeah,
your new boss, Doynan,
yeah.
He said, get us in here a little snappier next time.
Oh, Dwayne, my intern.
You got to stay on schedule.
Dwayne, my intern. Hey, Kev, your hair looks pretty slick, by the way, today. You're looking cool, dude. You going for a younger look? I like it. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, yeah, you're looking good. Dwayne, the intern.
He says, "I'll bet you won't say that."
He got his name in there, did he? No. Guys, you see a lot of tough stories out there because you're helping people fix their credit, and sometimes it's because of their own faults. Let's be honest, people fuck up their credit scores a lot. And sometimes actually you hear some stories that are like, oh my God, they were forced to not be able to pay certain things because of other stuff going on. Tell us what happened the other day.
Right. So we've got in the studio today Stephen and Ruby, and Stephen came to us and asked us if we could help him out. Well, of course, absolutely, we want to do that, right? So I always ask people what's the story? And so he got to telling me the story about his son. They had a son, Jacob, and I think you got it tattooed on your forearm, don't you, Stephen?
Steven's here. Why don't we grab, actually, maybe, Hunter, we can just give Steven the microphone, too, for this.
And so anyways, Ruby and Stephen had a son that was born to them, Jacob, and I believe it was cerebral palsy. Is that right?
Yeah, he had level 5 cerebral palsy.
And so anyways, in taking care of him, you run up a lot of extra bills. There's a lot of medical things that need to be taken care of. And so anyways, that happened, and you make a choice, right? You either pay something or you look after your family. What are you going to do? And then along in all the midst of the worst of it, Revenue Canada comes calling and said, oh, by the way, you owe us a lot of money. And so anyways, that put them in a really bad situation, and we were able to go in and help. We talked about second mortgages a couple of times, right? And we're able to eliminate that. And I think, Kevin, how much were we taking off their mortgage payment now?
Oh, we're probably reducing it by about half.
So it's a couple $1,000, right?
Wow. So like from $4 to $2 grand or something.
Yeah, it's pretty
huge
significant.
amount per month for disposable income and stuff.
So anyways, I just, sometimes you connect with people. And so we were just kind of connecting with Stephen and said, hey, what's the story? What happened? Because once we heard, how things had happened, I was like, this isn't a guy that just lets things go. He's a good guy. And so anyways, he started telling us the story, and that's when I called you and said, hey, you know what do you think of this? And then you had this awesome idea about, let's put that on Valentine's Day because that's really about love.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I thought to myself, what a great idea.
Well, Stephen, you're here with us with your wife and your daughter. So your Jacob was your boy.
Yeah.
He died at how old?
He was 7 years old when he died.
7 years old. So sorry for your loss, man. I can't even imagine that kind of pain. Just be honest, having a little boy myself, I can't even imagine the type of pain that you as a family must be going through. So let me just put that out there. Hard for me even to speak. He was born prematurely, correct?
He was 17 weeks premature. So he was 23 weeks, 2 days is when he was born. He was basically a perfectly healthy child when he came out, unfortunately, because of his lungs weren't developed properly, and stuff like that. He problems started up from day one. As time went on, we figured out, or the doctors figured out, he had cerebral palsy, he had chronic lung disease, he had perforation of the bowel, he had all kinds of different things, lots of things wrong with him. But he was a happy kid, and he made our lives a lot better. So he was a good brother and a good kid.
Just a happy kid.
Always smiled. Always smiled. Yeah. Tell him a joke and he'd understand it and he'd laugh. He was great. So
amazing to see that kind of inspiration through someone who's suffering a lot of the time, and being your own child. Now, I guess, I mean, we don't factor this stuff in, but you think about how people's lives get busy for frivolous reasons, and then how people's lives would get busy because you're taking care of a sick child. And I guess it made it tough for you to work and kind of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate. I work in an industry where I can take time off here and there. My wife, unfortunately, she had to stop working. So basically, that's one thing. Bang, you've lost an income immediately.
In this day and age, you need two incomes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we did. I mean, we built a lifestyle around both incomes. So suddenly you lose one, it hits hard. And it is your life is between hospital and home. There were times where he was at home, which was great, but the majority of the time he was at Sick Kids Hospital.
At this point, I mean, your wife has to stop working. You're not working as much. You're taking, I would imagine, 24 hours, 7 days a week care for young Jacob. You're watching him, I guess, his health start to fail him more and more as he ages. Yeah. And at what point, like, is the government favorable, or is this part of the problem? Like, I mean, is there compassionate grounds that people look at this kind of stuff when you start to have credit problems because you're legitimately don't have the time to work?
There's no compassion, because it's just numbers. They punch their numbers into computers and it spits out answers for them. So there's no real compassion. There is a certain amount of help. We're fortunate we live in Ontario.
Sure.
And
healthcare and things like that.
Yeah, Sick Kids Hospital is one of the best in the world. That sort of stuff, it was great. We had a lot of help. But financially, if you're not on welfare, there's not a lot of help out there, because the amount you earn puts you outside of the bracket of qualifying. Stuff like we got to a point where we had to get a wheelchair accessible van. We put it off.
How much did that run you?
$50,000 for a van, for a Dodge Caravan, $50,000. And of which
you're really putting it in perspective when you're saying a Dodge.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Not my ideal car, but there you go. So the government didn't cover any of it, because on paper I earn above the amount, and that included the benefit that my wife got. So they take that all into account, and I think where the funding starts and ends is between $35,000 and $75,000. So if you're earning anywhere over $35,000, that amount goes down until you hit $75,000, and then you get nothing. So it's the whole financial bit is they don't take into account your circumstance, your mortgage payments, your my daughter going to school, all the other stuff. They just see how much you earn, and that's it. That's all they care about.
Can I just ask quick?
Hunter,
is
get in
that
here.
75,000 combined income?
Combined income.
Wow.
Combined income, yeah.
Peanuts.
Yeah, it is. It is when
I know, like you think
Like
you
two
can't even
people.
live on 75 grand.
No,
Not
that's
in Toronto.
honestly,
yeah.
it's like two comedians.
Yeah, that's
Two comedians in this country earn 75 grand?
Like two very successful, proactive comedians.
If you can't take a joke, right?
yeah. It's not a lot, and it's not funny. No, it's very difficult, and to try and figure out what's important and what isn't.
Well,
That's
you being there
where
for your
you-
child, you're
Exactly.
you probably somewhere deep in your heart know you don't have as much time, so you're going to spend whatever time you have.
Yeah, exactly.
And you made clearly the right choice, I'm sorry, like, on behalf of the way this system's set up, that it makes it difficult for people. Like we forget, and there's, God, you think of countries without healthcare and stuff. It's what people go through when people get illnesses, or even if someone were to go overseas and get sick, what those kind of bills cost and stuff. And I'm just, most importantly, I thank you for coming to share your story, as very brave parents, and it's beautiful to meet your wife as well, and your daughter, very strong, and just you can see how loving she is with you right by your side here as you talk.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm always at a loss for words at these things because I never know what's the right thing to say, other than the fact that you have the support of the Todd Shapiro Show. Obviously, we're very happy that Kevin and Stephen at CreditPHD.ca are helping you out now, helping you guys get out of debt and climb out of your debt. But I think the if there's any moral of the story and why I wanted to do this on Valentine's Day is like, and I'm sorry to use you as an example, but we're all sometimes so focused on material things and things we need and stuff, and it's like, just appreciate the love you have in front of you, and the rest. If you dig a big hole one day in life, you have people to bail you out, and you'll continue to work hard and just enjoy people around you and those you love, because you never know when they might not be around you. And
Absolutely.
you guys seem like such a awesome couple and family, and God, I'm sorry.
You know what? It was really neat at your Christmas party. We got a chance to see the comedians, right?
Yeah, or Bilal beat Hunter Collins.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know what?
He wore a blazer today just to rub it
that's
in.
right.
He's like, all like,
And, it's easy. The stars can become your heroes, right? And the sports guys can become your heroes. There's heroes around us that are just normal, everyday people, right? And
Well
when
said.
when I heard that, I was like, everybody with a child will be touched. I think somebody told me once, a doctor told me once, that when there's a major medical issue within a family, whether it's a husband or a wife or a child, 95% of them end up divorced. They divorce
So
over the
stressful.
stress of the.
Yeah,
of
we
the thing,
were
right?
given that advice when we first. We were given the opportunity to continue. What was the phrase? We don't think this fetus is viable, was something I was told before he was born. So we were given the choice to go ahead with,
a late
to
abortion.
resuscitate and to, well, no, just when he was born, just to not to resuscitate, not to help him out.
Oh man.
We chose to go through with it and we were given all the facts and all the odds and what was going to happen to us, and that was one of the statistics the doctors told us, that chances are we wouldn't be together through it. Now we've had our rough times, but we're happy. Happy Valentine's Day. By the way. We are happy as a family. My daughter's an amazing girl. She's very helpful. She's 12 years old and more mature than both her mum and dad. So it's good. But yeah, the what you were saying is there's help out there. There's good advice and bad advice. Unfortunately, the bad advice tends to flow a lot quicker than the good advice. And that's what got me into a lot of trouble, was I was following what I thought was good advice, and later on I realized was just the worst possible way
terms
to
of
go.
borrowing and things like that.
Yeah, in terms of what I should do financially. And
Bunch of
you end up
assholes out there,
well,
man.
you do. You end up digging yourself into a bigger hole
Yeah.
than you want to, and then you have people who actually give you the real facts. They tell you, what you should and shouldn't be doing, and it makes sense, and it really is simple.
And one of the
in the long
morals of the story, Todd, is that if there's somebody out there and they're in trouble, they have a situation, don't wait. Come see us, because we can put some strategies together to help. And it may not be perfect, but you know what? It may be a lot better than getting some bad advice from somebody else.
Digging that hole even deeper.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it.
Well, heartbreaking story, but something just to see your bond as a family, and your ability to disclose and talk about this story so openly, and hopefully that's a little bit therapeutic, just talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And really nice to hear about your kind words to Sick Kids Hospital and anyone else you want to thank during this journey.
There's obviously all the staff at Sick Kids were absolutely amazing over the 7 years, but there's another place. It's called Emily's House, which is run by the Philip Aziz Foundation, and it's a respite home and palliative care home, and it's the only one in Toronto for children. There aren't any other homes. There's Ronald McDonald House, which is for the families of homes of kids who are in hospital, but this is the only place where you can take your child and feel at home. You can take your child and have a weekend off, and they are amazing. The staff there are phenomenal. And I can't say enough about them. That chokes me up when I talk about those guys.
Most lovely people in the world, huh?
Absolutely. They got us through such hard times. It's where my son passed away. They allowed him to stay there. They allowed us to bring the dog in to see him. Stuff like that. It was incredible. So a big thank you to those people. And if anyone feels, if coming to tax season and they got to get rid of some money, that's a place. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to do that, but that's
encourage
that's
helping raise money for sure. What say the name?
It's the building. It's Emily's house.
Okay.
It's at Gerard and Broadview. It's the old warden's house at the Don Jow. And
now you just got me thinking about Shawshank Redemption.
That's
he was such a mean warden, that guy. But he really got his comeuppance. How do you say that?
Comeuppance.
Comeuppance. Thank you. Sorry, and you don't even speak English that well.
This place you didn't have to go through the sewer to get into.
Okay.
It's the Philip Aziz Foundation. That's who runs it, and it's funded 50% privately, 50% by the government, which is like you're talking about millions of dollars to keep this place running.
Well, people should try and help out. And once again, I'm so sorry for your loss to you and your family. Thank you so much for coming here. Our love is with Jacob's spirit that will live on forever, obviously, and especially through such motivation and powerfulness and inspiring tales of overcoming tragedy, but always being there for those who continue to go and try and help them out as well. So thank you to that. Thank you to the guys, Stephen and Kevin from CreditPHD.ca for helping this family and just for bringing the story in, man. It's once in a while we just got to remember what life's about, and without love, sounds corny, but we have nothing.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. And one of the things, Todd, in our relationship with you is we've seen your heart, and how much you care for your audience. And you know what? There's a lot more stories out there like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's weird because I get uncomfortable not trying to be funny every 2 seconds. It's the truth. And then I usually get uncomfortable when I listen back because I realize I'm not even funny for any of the time. But once in a while, it's I think it is important to be very genuine and just to show. I've said it all.
Well, and from us, you know what? It was. We've been kidding around when we've come in with you, right, and joking around with Bilal and everybody. But I was really enjoying watching you interview them. Tough subject, but very impressed by your professionalism. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for being a good interviewer and making that as good as it could be.
The Todd Shapiro Show.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. You can subscribe over there, or you can watch another video over here. And I think this is the Daniel Bryan yes chant. So what the hell? Yes, Todd Shapiro Show. Daniel Bryan can't wrestle anymore. It's a very sad story.